What's going on, fight fans? This is Capital Combat. Name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is another quick counter. And before the new year, got about 5 hours left before 12 a.m. strikes, and I just wanted to, talk about the announcement of Pacquiao's supposed last fight finale retirement going away. If you haven't heard by now, if you haven't been paying attention, Manny Pacquiao is scheduled to fight Timothy Bradley in April for the last fight of his career, supposedly. Now, this is another song and dance that we've seen before. If I'm not mistaken, he fought Marco Antonio Barrera twice. He's fought Eric Morales 3 times. He's fought Juan Manuel Marquez 4 times. And it's just another trilogy that we're just going to have to be in store for. That's what Top Rank is bringing us. It looks like they have been courting a lot of fighters to fight them. What they said the closest to the match was Terrence Crawford. But we know he's at 140. We know Manny can make 140. It was a makeable match, but Aram said there wasn't enough money. He didn't have enough following. Whatever. Then we heard Adrian Broner. We've heard Lucas Matisse. We've heard Kell Brook at sometimes. And those would have all been good, intriguing matchups. I think, personally, if it was in-house, he should have went ahead and fought Crawford, since Matisse is coming off the loss to Victor Postol. I didn't ever see Adrian Broner ever coming to fruition. It's the whole PBC Top Rank, stalemate, not fighting, fighters not fighting each other. That was going to stand in the way. We saw how hard it was to make Pacquiao, to see Mayweather versus Pacquiao, and that took 5-6 years. So trying to get him versus Adrian Broner might have been easier, but then probably another matchup, but we knew that wasn't going to happen. It would have been too many logistics, and we know that PBC Top Rank or PBC and Golden Boy don't really work together. And I don't think there were too many big enough names in other promotions for him to put him up against Pacquiao. Kell Brook would have been one of the easier fights to make. It would have been a more dangerous fight for Manny Pacquiao. But for whatever reason, that wasn't made. There was a report that it was moving along. Guess what? Wasn't moving along. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed Amir Khan, which would have been one of the bigger fights. But again, this is one of those situations where Amir Khan, all he had to do was shut up. And then with him being with PBC, it would have been difficult to make anyway. Because we know he had been calling out Mayweather. He was under, being trained by Freddie Roach while Freddie Roach was training Pacquiao. He said he could beat Pacquiao. He got the best of him in sparring, this, that, and the other. And he might have talked himself out of another big fight. He could have made this easier on himself if he was fighting bigger fighters. If he had fought a Kell Brook, if he had fought, let's say, a Sean Porter, if he had fought Timothy Bradley before. So it is what it is. We're going to see Pacquiao-Bradley 3. We know the first fight was controversial. It was really close. I think there was a lot of close. It was a closer fight than people gave it credit for. I thought Pacquiao pulled it out, but it could have gone either way. The second fight, Pacquiao clearly won. I think Bradley and Pacquiao was even going into the 7th round, but then Bradley hurt himself and he was trying to slug and knock out Pacquiao instead of trying to box him. So that's neither here or there. We didn't want to see Pacquiao Marquez 5 again. Let's be honest. Did we really want to see that? So it wasn't really many makeable fights. Like within Top Rank, you could have fought Saddam Ali with who I believe was with the Golden Boy. It could have been made, but I'm gonna be honest. Pacquiao is a high energy fighter, so they burn out quickly. So that's why his matchmaking was a little bit more careful. with his more recent fights being against Algieri and Brandon Rios before he fought Mayweather, which he suffered a shoulder injury. And the Marquez fight probably took, and he was winning that fight. He was going to win that fight by decision, period. Again, another thing, it is what it is. It's a makeable fight. It's a marketable fight. Knowing how the first one's controversial but close, and how the second one was all Pacquiao. So technically they're 1-1, and a trilogy would make sense. Unfortunately, I think it might be one of those situations, depending on how they look, and the fact that Bradley has Teddy Atlas in his corner, is that Bradley has a much greater chance of winning. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I think he's just going to box the whole fight and make him miss a lot. But we'll talk more about the matchup. And the reason we said that, and I've talked to Hakeem, is just Bradley isn't on the downside. And again, Pacquiao being a high energy fighter, he clearly doesn't have that quite that speed, and maybe not even that zest for fighting or even training, because he has a really difficult training camp. So who knows? He may or may not be in the best possible shape or best possible mindset. We know he's a senator. He plays basketball. He does all this stuff that goes on in the Philippines, which he is the man. He's probably the most famous person in the Philippines right now, period. So I'm going to watch it. Hakeem's going to watch it. We just hope that there's a really good card. I would love to see Vargas versus Saddam Ali, maybe an upcoming Golden Boy fighter. You know, some people that they can really put on there. You know, some up-and-coming guys who need a shot. Put them on the undercard, make it worth our while. You could probably put some of the Asian guys, the other Asian fighters from China and the Philippines and Japan. Put Chocolatito on there. That you definitely would get my money for that. So we'll see. You might see Lomachenko. You might see Chocolatito. You might see Vargas. So it should be really interesting. We'll bring more once we start seeing the training, the news, everything coming out. And we still have 4 months until this fight is going to happen. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. You know, we're on Facebook, Capital Combat, capitalcombat@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at Capital Combat. We're on Google Plus at Capital Combat. Just hit us up with a mailbag. We're going into 2016. Hopefully we're going to see some great fights. And that's it, guys. Peace.